Welcome to the Working Women's Channel. My name is Clara Capano, and we're going to share the real secrets to success. Come on in. Karen, thank you so much for being with me today. You know, we've been friends for many years, and in so many ways, you have been just such a huge anchor to me in my life and such one of my favorite people and favorite mentors. So thank you for taking time to be here with me today.
Absolutely. I'm so thrilled, and you know how much I love you, and I'm so proud of you, Claire.
Thank you.
I really am.
Thank you. So I want to just start out by, why don't you just share a little bit about, who you are and what you do, and then we'll sort of, dive into some of the other questions.
Okay. Well, my name is Karen Ricci. I am the managing broker at the Coldwell Banker DTC office in Inglewood. I started in real estate about 22 years ago and became a top agent, and then they asked me to be in management, and I have pretty much done that for the last 20 years.
Yeah, and you have a lot of large offices. It's not that, how many agents are in your office now?
We have 225. We are the number one Coldwell Banker in Colorado and the number one in the United States in closed units. So it's a big machine.
I love it. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, I know the road to success is not always pretty. Yeah. And I would love to ask, was there a time in your life, and it could be either a business one or a personal one, that was a real challenge for you that, you can share? And then how did you overcome that?
Well, Clara, you were back there with me at probably my most challenging time. I was a top agent with Coldwell Banker, had taken over an acquisition that we had done with three other offices. And I became the managing broker there, already had 4 sons, and got pregnant with my 5th. So it was a really big challenge for me to continue in management with having this baby, who was actually, born premature, 2 pounds, 8 ounces, was in Children's Hospital for about 4 months. But I overcame that and continued in management. But I think one thing that it did for me is I started drinking alcohol more than I should have. And it's in my family. And I think for the stress that I was going under, probably being that, at 46, a new mother of a premature baby, and having to run a large office also, we had over 200 agents in that one. I was using substances to medicate myself to kind of get through it. So the wonderful thing now is I've been in recovery for a long time, and it's a wonderful way to live. It truly is, but it was challenging. You remember those?
I do, and I appreciate you being so open and sharing, because these are things that affect our personal lives, our business lives, and what were some of the things that you feel were the lessons that you learned from it? And how are you stronger now?
I think I learned, I've always been a people pleaser. I grew up in a Southern family. I was the oldest. So we were there to kind of please everybody else. We were to get out of ourselves and help other people. And I think it's taught me to, love myself, first of all, and that I don't have to please everybody. And I've surrounded myself with a very good group of women that mentor me and kind of keep me on my road, I say, to happy, joyness, and freedom, truly. So,
I love it. Fantastic. Yeah. Now, you mentioned that you have 5 boys.
I do.
And I'm sure that, being a working mom, there was a lot going on, and, with your husband, Brandon, how do you make it all work with 5 boys? How do you stay connected with them when you're working, but then also how do you take care of yourself?
Right. Well, first of all, they're real estate children. You remember them from very little, that they were my real estate buddies. They would just do flyers. We would do, parties. They were involved with real estate. So they've been involved with me the entire time. I haven't mentioned this, and we've talked about it a little bit, but my second son had to go into treatment. So, this disease is, a family disease, but it also can be family recovery. So he's been in recovery quite a few years and is on his road too. I think that alone and having to go through treatment with him really brought the boys together even closer. And we have an understanding within the family that we come first, that our relationship comes first, and that everything else comes second. So it really did bring us together.
Yeah, and sometimes that happens. I know in our world, we had a really good friend of ours who was almost like one of our sisters, and she passed away, and it did bring Amy, Lisa, and I much closer together, and that's what started us going on our sister trips.
Absolutely.
So I want to ask you about the movies, because I remember one of my favorite stories about you is we would look around on Thursdays and we'd be like, where is Karen? So tell us where you would go on Thursday.
You know, it's so funny because even when I was in sales and I was the top at the office that I sold out of, I would go every day, every week, at least one day in the middle of the day, because back then, you know, it was just all the old people were in there, all the elderlies, nobody had cell phones, to watch the movies. It was my escape from life, and I still continue to do it.
You still go to the movies?
I do, and it's just kind of an escape for me. But yeah, I just think it's ingrained in me.
Yeah.
We grew up as children with the movies, and just an escape, you know,
I love it.
to live in.
So what do you tell other women? Because in real estate, there are so many working women, and I think we don't take well enough care of ourselves.
Right.
So what do you tell some of your agents or some of your friends that are, you know, working women, the importance of self-care?
You have to take some time, and you always think you're too busy. And you know, you were really good, Clara, at the block schedule, which I wasn't. You kind of taught me that, and I've really kind of incorporated that with these agents and my really good friends who are in you know, high end jobs and business. But I think even with COVID, just these last, you know, 6 months, it's made us really look at what's important in our lives. So it's kind of gone along with how I've been living for the last, you know, several years anyway, but how important it is for us to take a break, even if it's just a drive to the mountains, getting a massage if you can, talking to some good girlfriends, Zoom meetings, you know, with your girlfriends, but to really take some time off. It really is, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have your management job, you have your family.
That's right.
You have an amazing husband, great relationship with Brandon, and you also still have a team back home in Louisiana.
I do.
You know, what are some of the ways that you find the harmony in all of it? How do you balance it all?
You know, I just have fun. Everything's fun to me. You know, I have a friend that says, Karen, you wear rose-colored glasses. I love it. You know that. I love it. And so if it's giving me purpose and it gives me fun, I just do it. And I have a great partner, I have to say that, who is very generous to me and takes very good care of my clients. And I travel back and forth to Louisiana to see my sisters and a brother and then my clients when I'm there. So yeah, it's just balance.
Good.
You know, it's prioritizing. I think of what is important.
Yeah. So being a working mom, what would you say are the best things about being a working mom?
Getting away from the boys. No, I think I just enjoy. I don't think, Claire, I'm like you. I could not sit home. I mean, I've even thought, you know, if I had all this money in the whole world, I would still have to do something. Yeah. I feel like empowering women is just so important to me. And so I try to do that, and I try to give that back. So the boys, you know, we've raised them pretty well, they're pretty independent. They're all kind of on their own path. And so 2 of them are in college right now. One's in high school. You know, my oldest is in New York, has a fabulous job and life up there. And then my second son, who's been often, you know, kind of on this path with me, is coming in his own, which is good. So, yeah.
So what would you say are some of the trade-offs that you've had to make in your life? So for example, you know, sometimes I have to trade off taking a training so that I can be home with Nicholas.
Right.
You know, what would you say are some of the trade-offs that you've had to make over the course of your career or even now to make it all work?
Again, their priority. So I went, you know, when I got hired, I mean, they pretty much asked me to come do this job. They had offered me many offices, and when this one came up, because it was the largest, I told them that nothing would come in between my children. So if they had games or things, that was part of it. I mean, I negotiated with them, and I think it's really important as women to negotiate. I've always negotiated.
Yes, you have.
And I negotiated for you.
No, you did.
You know, so I think it's really important to ask for what you want. And I usually get it. Usually get it.
And that was one of the things I learned from you and always was so, you know, in awe of is, you do stand up for yourself. You stand up for what's right, not just for you, but for those around you.
Right.
But it's also really about setting expectations. And I think that's where a lot of people get into trouble too, because they don't set clear expectations with their family, with their work, partners, so that there isn't that clarity.
Right.
And so I think you've done a really great job with your family as well.
I do.
As the people back at work saying, these are my priorities. This is when I'm available to you. So they know exactly what is good and what are the non-negotiables for you.
Yeah, and I say non-negotiable. And it's really cute because that's, of course, real estate. But my children, I can remember Grayson, he's now 16. He was about 7, and I heard him with a friend, and he said, oh, that's non-negotiable. Yeah. So they learned the talk.
They
but
do.
You know what? You and I just talked about your mother and how she worked back in her era. My mother didn't, but she was a very strong woman, and she really taught us that we needed to say no a lot too, which we're such yes people.
Absolutely.
And that we did. And it was hard, especially being a Southern girl. It's hard to say no.
It is.
And not try to please everybody.
I know. I try to get people with the mindset that an honest no is better than a dishonest yes.
Absolutely.
And when you start saying yes to something, really looking at then what do you have to say no to?
Yes.
So that you can really, balance. And there's so many great ways to say no without other people hearing no.
Right.
But you have to really, honor yourself, because we're great at saying no. It's just to usually ourselves or to our families.
That's exactly. And that's who ends up suffering, is the family, when we don't.
So when you are facing challenges, you mentioned that you have a really great group of people around you. What are some of the things that you do to heal yourself, or, what are some of the ways you ask for help when you need it now?
Okay, so the way I heal myself and try to help the world is something I do for you most mornings is I have a little meditation. And so I'll send it out because I just think we have too much negative. We focus on the negative, and especially the last few months, we've just had a challenging time. I have women that I pick up the phone and just say I'm not doing good or something's not going right, and they coach me through it. They really do. They're strong women, mostly a lot older than I am. I have a lot of women that are in their 70s, 75, 80, that are still really important in my life. They really are, and they are calm with me, and kind of help me see what is really important, but also what's really going on, because sometimes I can't see it myself.
Oh yeah, sometimes we can't see what's right in front of us.
So they taught me off the ledge sometimes. Yeah.
So what would you say is one of your favorite memories over the years of being a working mom?
Of being a working mom, well, I'm very competitive. I think having my children, I remember having my children come to one of our awards banquets and being very proud of where I'd gone, because our office was number one, remember? I mean, we were number one back then. I'm number one now. I don't do anything else that's number one.
I remember when our office was not number one and the road to get there.
Do you remember when we practiced, when we were having awards and we practiced how loud they could yell because it was a competition between all of us, and we won.
Of course we did.
And I told Chris McGatt this, I said, if I can't sell anymore and I can't be number one, then I'm going to be number one in this office.
Right.
And we are. I mean, it's our, and I'm proud of that. But I think they've been proud of the success I've had. And being a strong woman, I think will make them, they don't all have women in their lives right now, will make them find somebody that is strong and is independent and has her own, vision.
I love it. So Karen, another thing that I wanted to ask you about is I know that you've lost both your parents, and that is a real challenge. You were very close with your parents, with your family. How do you manage to show up, for your agents at work, for your family? How do you show up when behind the curtain your life is falling apart?
And that was challenging. I think that because I had been in recovery when my father died, and he committed suicide. So it was both of them really quick, very unexpected deaths. And, Daddy, it's so funny. We talked about, Taylor, my son, my brother's in recovery, I'm in recovery. Daddy was, but Daddy didn't take care of himself. And I think his demons kind of caught up with him. And so he committed suicide. So it was a shock to all of us. And I remember just having to really be close to people that had experienced suicide. I kind of sought out people that had gone through this experience. With Mother, and this was a total, I say God bump or universe bump, but she had remarried after my father died, and they were on their way on a trip to Wyoming. So they were going to Utah first and Wyoming, and they were doing a ton of things with this tour group they had gone to Canada with. And she asked my stepfather, she said, do you mind if we stop in Denver? Just let's take a day before, go stay with Karen for a day, and then we'll go on and join the group in Utah. And that was a total God thing, because she came to visit us. Grayson was about a year, so he's 16 now. Then they went on their trip, and when they got to Wyoming, they went on a little float trip down the Snake River. They were all senior citizens, and the little guide thought he was going to give them a little bit more excitement, and they went down a path that had a tree down, and it flipped over, and 3 people drowned, and Mother was one of them. And that was so challenging, Clara, because I had relapsed. See, I had a relapse. So I was not sober for her death. And that was hard. That was hard once I got back on my path. That was hard to grieve. I kind of left that grieving done. So I'm not sure I did a great job of helping other people at that time, but people were reaching out to me to try to help me. So, challenges come. I think if you build a good, strong support system around you, and even if you can't reach out to them, if they'll reach out to you, and at least you can be willing in your own way, you can get through it. So it's all about setting yourself up, I think.
Yeah, and I think the idea of having that support group, because, I think especially as working women, we try to create this mask and this facade that we can handle everything and keep all the plates spinning and nothing bad happens, everything's perfect. And, sometimes we have to be brave enough to say, no, I need some help.
Yeah.
And it's really good that when we are not strong enough, because again, as you mentioned earlier, sometimes we don't see the truth that's in front of us. So to be able to have those people that are, pulling you back in, saying, hey, we need a timeout and we need to get you back on track. So
and they did, and they did. So set yourself up now. Set yourself up now because you're going to have tragedies. We never think our parents are going to die, whether it's a natural cause or not, but it's part of life, know. And so set yourself up for success right now.
Yeah,
I think that's a great lesson. Good people.
Yeah, set really yourself up for when the fall is going to come, and just have it in your back pocket.
That's exactly.
And do that. I have people in my world, you're one of them. It's, when I'm having a bad day, I need to call you. When I need to get out of my own way, I need to call you. So I think it's really important to have those people there ready to go for when you need them.
It really is. It really is.
So, well, thank you for sharing that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So if you could go back in time and rewind, is there anything you would have done differently?
I would have been Siskel and Ebert and Karen. Yeah. I would have been a movie critic. I would have. I mean, absolutely. As far as that. No, I was I went to college, and I remember having to decide what I was going to graduate in. They came to me, and I said, anything but math. We all think math is hard, or women do. And so they said, you have a lot of psychology. And so that is my trade, and it helps me in everything I do. And so I don't think I'd change anything.
No.
I think I've enjoyed my life, and every step I've done has gotten me to where I am.
Wonderful.
If I hadn't had those struggles, Claire, I wouldn't be who I am. That's the truth,
Wonderful. What are you most proud of?
My boys. I think my 5 boys, I mean, those are my life, And I have a wonderful husband, I have to say that, who's an artist, who is so laid back. I'm a cougar, he's 13 years younger than me, and but he's an old soul, and just brings a lot of peace in my life. He's kind of our rock, which is nice.
I love it.
Kind of centers us.
Yeah. So, in looking back, you've had an amazing life. You love the life that you have. You wouldn't change anything. What's next for Karen?
Ooh, that's always challenging. I try to live in one day at a time. I try to live in the day. I'd like to stay in management for a few more years, and then my goal is, and I've always thought this, is to buy like maybe a building or something, maybe a little bit more up in the mountains. My husband's an artist; he sells his art, does very well. Maybe sell real estate up there. I've always wanted a little coffee shop. I have really dreams of doing something kind of peaceful for the rest of my life, and so that's really kind of my thing, kind of lofty looking building with a store underneath it, and I think
living on top of it and just coming downstairs to go to work and greet
really
everybody
cool
in the community.
It'd be really cool. And then having some place on the ocean too. So either, I know you're in California, probably would be in Florida, something like that.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, and I know you used to live in Idaho Springs, right?
I did, and I loved it.
Yeah, and I know that's always been a heart space for you, and you've always loved to be able to get back there.
I love up in the mountains.
You need to start thinking of the name of your coffee house. We need
I know,
to start
I really
getting
do.
that vision going.
We do. That's true. I'll call you because you're good at that.
And then you can have the little elk come down every day and
it'd be fun.
have all your sons working there with you.
It'd be fun. So being such a Southern girl, Colorado has really gotten my heart. It really has. It's so peaceful. Brandon says all I have to do is drive. He has to drive me in the mountains, and I just get completely at peace. I really do.
That's me with my ocean. So I get
exactly.
that.
That's exactly.
Well, you can come visit me in California. I'll come visit you in Florida.
That'd be awesome.
And we'll meet in the middle for coffee.
Deal.
I like it. It's
That's
a good
deal.
dream.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Okay.
So Karen, it has been so fun, talking with you, and I appreciate you sharing your story. As other women watch this, there may be some that want to connect with you and learn more about you and your story. How can people find you and get a hold of you?
Well, first of all, social media, you can do Karen Lewis Ricci is my Facebook page. I can be at the Coldwell Banker DTC office. I'll even give my phone number, 318-617-1448. But I'd love to visit with anybody about anything, seriously.
So in closing out, what would you say is, a message that you would want to send to other working women, who have kids, who are trying to keep it all together? What would be some words of wisdom and some nuggets that you want to pass on to them?
I think first, take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself. And whether that is doing yoga, I love my yoga, some kind of meditation. I think we all need to slow this mind down. And second, don't settle. If you don't like your job, get out of it. Figure out what you want to do. Life's way too short not to enjoy it. It really is. And I think probably lastly, have integrity, be honest, and deal with people like you would want to be dealt with, really try to reach out and help somebody, make a change in their lives.
I love it.
I think, yeah.
Wonderful.
Yes,
well, Karen, thank you so
much.
much. I love you too. Thanks for being one of my dearest friends and my mentors, and just keep spreading your love and light to everyone.
I will, sweetheart. And I'm so proud of you. I really mean that. You're my Clara Bear.
I am. Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome, sweetheart.